Good morning, everyone. Greetings. My name is Dr. Temitope Sogbanmu. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Lagos and a co-investigator for the West Africa case study of the Solving-FCB project led by the University of British Columbia. In this presentation, I'm going to be sharing some preliminary findings from the Nigeria subgroup of the West Africa case studies. In West Africa, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing costs about 1.3 billion annually to the sub-region, and IUU by trawlers alone cost about 50 million US dollars in Ghana and 70 million in Nigeria. And fisheries account for about 60% of the animal consumption in the in these countries. In terms of effects on biodiversity, fishing activities like using dynamites, landing of juveniles, using destructive fishing gears, pollution, all of these impact on the biodiversity in these coastal and marine ecosystems in these countries. And then, because of the coastal nature of the countries, we have coastal populations that are vulnerable to climate change, particularly sea level rise and rising tidal waves, flooding, and making a combination of these stressors, essentially impacting adversely on the livelihoods and affecting the resilience of these vulnerable populations to climate change. IUU, as we know, refers to fishing activities that do not support management or conservation measures of the fisheries in question, and specifically in the Gulf of Guinea, they include fishing in inshore waters and economic exclusive zones that are illegal and unreported. And unregulated fishing involves activities by vessel owners who are not nationals or who are not flag bearing part of the parties in the regional organizations that govern the fishing region. And they could also be fishing in areas or where there are no conservation or management resources are in place. So in this project, our main aim is to examine whether and how IUU, resolving IUU fishing and plastic pollution in the Gulf of Guinea, specifically in Nigeria and Ghana, can enhance the resilience of marine ecosystem services for sustainable livelihoods under a changing climate. We have three specific objectives to look at the effect of IUU, climate change, and plastic pollution of fish stocks, effect on the use of destructive fishing methods on coastal and marine ecosystem services in two countries, and how does poverty and knowledge among artisanal fishers impact on the choice of climate adaptation strategies. Our methodologies involve primarily the use of secondary data and primary data collection using survey instruments and field experiments. And specifically, we're doing situational analysis, biophysical data collection, social demographic and economic analysis, as well as the use of quantitative methods, including ecological modeling, to design sustainable future scenarios in these regions for FCB. Our preliminary findings in the Nigerian case study shows that one MSc student has been recruited, just completed his program, and he focused on doing the situational analysis and stakeholders mapping, which will inform the inception meeting and the participatory stakeholders workshop on desirable future scenarios. Um, Nigerian coastal cities, specifically Lagos, Port are one of the identified vulnerable hotspots to erosion and inundation due to climate change. And by 2050, it is estimated that 9.7 million Nigerians would need to relocate because of increasing rise in sea levels. Sea surface temperature is also a major factor affecting the country. Based on the IU Fishing Weeks Index, Nigeria has a IU score of 2.40, which is marked by the coastal score of 3.1. And the higher the IU score, the more worse or adverse the situation is, requiring intervention. So the coastal score and the general score are actually high, 3.19 and 2.63 respectively. In terms of Nigeria's fishing sector, it is dominated by artisanal fishing, followed by industrial and then subsistence fishing. The number of discards of fisheries resources and landings are 50-50 percent. And while in terms of reporting, almost double the number of fisheries that are reported are actually not reported. So about times two of the portions that are reported are not reported according to records from the FARU database. And in terms of fishing gear, various fishing gears are used, dominated by traps, trawls, gill net, and the like. Plastic pollution, as we can see on slide 13, is a serious issue in Lagos, in Nigeria generally, which is approaching a population of around 220 million. The slide here shows plastic debris on the Lagos lagoon. And various microplastic polymer types have been found in economic fishes sampled from this lagoon and other coastal waters across the country, which can basically impact on contribute to fisheries decline, and also impact on the sustainability of fisheries, and thereafter food resources or food security for the country and in the region. Also, in addition to plastic debris, associated pollutants, which the plastics serve as vector for, have been identified in the various environmental matrices in this region, and this also further adds to the pollution problem affecting the fisheries and the availability of fisheries resources for consumption sustainably. We've mapped the stakeholders for the two countries across fisheries sectors, NGOs, ministries, coastal ocean sectors, higher education sectors, and IU related organizations. And this is how far we have gone within the project. And I'll stop here to take any questions. Thank you very much for your attention.